Hey, I'm Tony Moreland, and this is POW, the Samsung Developers Podcast, where we chat with innovators using Samsung technologies, award-winning app developers and designers, as well as insiders working on the latest Samsung tools. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3. On today's show, I interview Amy Lee, Vice President of Mentorships and Career Readiness at the Art Institutes, a collection of private schools located throughout the United States. For several years now, Samsung and the Art Institutes have collaborated to help students learn how to design, code, and create for Samsung. Not only do we talk about classes, curriculum, and what it takes to be a student at the Art Institutes, but the close collaboration between Samsung, the schools, and the students. Enjoy. So Amy Lee, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Tony.
I'd like to start with the first question, and that is, who is Amy Lee?
Gosh, that's such a deep question to start out with, right?
Of course.
So I'll tell you my official title. Obviously, you know Amy Lee. I'm with the Art Institutes, and my official title is Vice President of Mentorship and Career Readiness. I like to think of myself as more of a student success advocate, a creative connector, and that bridge for our students between the classroom and their potential career.
You know, I'm really excited about our chat today because this is the first interview where I get to talk with not a designer or a developer or even someone from a big tech company, but I get to talk with someone about education. And that is something that everyone starts with, you know, learning new skills, following passion, starting or even changing a career. And, you know, it all begins with education.
Right.
So can you tell me a bit about the Art Institutes?
Sure. So the Art Institutes is a system of 8 private schools. We're located throughout the United States, and we offer undergraduate, graduate degrees in the fields of fashion, design, media arts, culinary, and you know we're really here to focus on the applied arts and you know honing in those skills in the creative industries.
Yeah, so you're really covering a lot of the different areas of everything that really, you know, means art. So I love that, everything from cooking to traditional fine art to even tech as it's related to art.
Absolutely.
So when did the Art Institutes first open?
So the Art Institutes first opened their doors in 1921.
Wow.
So quite some time ago.
So you're coming up, it's 100 years.
It is. And it's crazy to think of.
Wow, that is crazy. So you had mentioned there are 8 campuses, is that correct?
That is correct.
So can you tell me where are those different locations throughout the U.S.?
Yeah. So we have campuses located in Florida. That would be our Miami and Tampa campus. We have one in Georgia, located in Atlanta. We have 4 in Texas, Austin, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. And then I have one in Virginia Beach.
Oh, wow. So you really are covering a good part of the country. Now, Are these schools independent of each other, or can students start at one school, at one campus, and actually at some point transfer to another location?
Sure. Students who begin their studies at one location are absolutely able to transfer to another location of the Art Institutes, depending on their program of study and where they are in their studies. So if they're, you know, a new student or closer to the end of their degree. So it just kind of depends on where they are and where they want to go.
Yeah. When I was starting my college career, I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Right.
I knew I wanted to be in art, something along those lines. I mean, my first attempt at a career would have been architecture. Mm-hmm. But I moved on from that pretty quickly when I realized that I had a hard time with rulers and I wanted to be more free-formed. So, I eventually found my way into graphic design. But I could see where students at that young age, when they are trying to figure out really what their career is, part of that also is, you know, where do they find themselves? Where do they want to live?
Right. Or where do I want to end after I graduate? You know, where do I want to end up and where do I want to be located for my, you know, first career attempt?
Yes. Now, so do you see that some of your schools focus more in one area than other areas? Like, do you see more fashion students, you know, at one campus versus others, or?
You know, they're spread all over. I will say we probably have a larger population of fashion in Miami, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, some of our larger cities.
Okay.
But not because, the industry is less in one or the other, just because there's more people in the area.
Sure. And what about tech, when it comes to more, using computers and whatnot to create?
Our media program is one of our larger programs. So media encompasses our animation, visual effects, photography, audio, film, and they're all over. Those students, Atlanta with their booming film industry does seem to be a bit of a hub, but we have those programs at all 8 locations.
What your school offers is pretty amazing when it comes to that on-campus education that you can get. That being said, do you offer online courses?
So we don't offer online courses as a total degree program, but we do offer classes in a virtual format and in person. 100% online is not an offering that we have at the moment.
Sure.
But because of COVID and because of, how we are transitioning and being able to, adapt our courses, there's 4 formats technically for how students can learn. So they can attend classes from the comfort of their home within a set course structure. They decide when they want to complete their courses and their course content. Alternatively, in this format, students can attend live sessions online at a set day and time. So the instructor goes live, say Tuesdays at 2:00, and all their classmates join. They might have a guest lecturer, and they're all learning virtually in that environment.
Sure. So it's not like an on-demand type of course offering. It is, you are here with the teacher and your fellow students, and we're taking this class together.
Yeah, so there's that option. And then there is that sort of on-demand option as well. As students would be able to go in and look at their course content and say, okay, this assignment's due on Tuesday of next week. Here's all my learning videos. Here's all of the course instructor notes. Here's the videos from my instructor.
Okay.
I'm going to do this at my own pace and just meet my deadlines or my benchmarks. So
gotcha. Yeah.
That's sort of our virtual learning option.
I see. And I could see where that would really work well for a student who has responsibilities outside of school.
Right.
So maybe someone who has a job, whether it's full-time or part-time, they may not be able to dedicate a certain amount of time every day.
Right. I think flexibility is the key. We're trying to take into account different styles of learning, different types of students and different backgrounds, and, really being able to accommodate all of those different things.
Yeah, which brings up a good point. I want to ask you, do you offer classes that are geared towards people maybe at different points in their career, whether it's a younger student who is just starting out, or maybe it's somebody who's already had a career and they're looking for a change or a switch? Do you offer programs for those different types of students?
I think our programs speak to those types of students no matter where they are. So it's not that there would be an adult learning graphic design program, but the course content for our graphic design program would cater to someone who is fresh from high school, someone who's a career changer, someone who, maybe has a little bit of skill under their belt, and maybe they want to come back and just do the diploma program, not the associates, the bachelor's or the master's. So there's different levels and different skills and different time periods for everyone. Yeah.
That's what I like about the flexibility of it. How many students would you say total amongst all 8 campuses are part of the Art Institutes?
So we currently have more than 3,000 students between our 8 campuses.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah.
So are all campuses have like the equal amount of students, or is there one campus that is actually a bigger school than others?
So they do range in size. And I would say it really depends on the city. So again, the more populous cities, so a Miami, an Atlanta, Houston, a Dallas, they are a little bit larger as far as student body than a campus in Austin or Tampa or Virginia Beach or San Antonio. Sure.
What about faculty? I'm sure that you've got a large faculty group that can administer to all these students.
Yeah, so faculty are great. Our faculty are certainly part of the lifeblood of our institute. They're very gifted instructors, many of whom are respective, active professionals in the fields that they teach. So our faculty use a lot of different learning-centered methodologies to prepare our students. And right now we have approximately 350 of them teaching during any given quarter.
Wow. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So we had touched on COVID just for a quick moment earlier. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. I mean, that obviously has impacted our country, our world. I mean, in every aspect of life. How has it impacted the Art Institutes?
Sure. So given the current state of the world, we had to pivot very quickly within the Art Institutes to make sure that our students could still be accommodated and still, be able to learn. So we went to great lengths to really ensure that despite what's going on in the world, we were here to help our students keep the applied arts surviving and thriving. So in addition to those earlier courses where we were talking about they could learn virtually or, at set times, we offer hybrid courses with one of two options. So for select courses, students could complete their academic work online or come to campus for the practical lab component of their courses. Labs are offered on multiple dates and times. Students can schedule that date and time to attend from the available options via our online reservation system. Or students can access the campus outside of those class times via just the online reservation system. So they could come on campus in obviously limited numbers due to COVID, but following those CDC guidelines, they could still access and utilize the audio lab or the photo studio or the fashion lab and get that hands-on piece.
Sure.
In addition to what they're learning in a remote format.
Yeah. So I will say I was very impressed with how quickly you guys pivoted when COVID hit. I mean, it seemed like it was within just a matter of days that we all had to figure out, okay, how are we going to change our direction so we can still, help these students. So I was really impressed with how quickly you guys did pivot that.
That was something that we really kind of all pulled together on. So, prior to the initial lockdowns last year, students attended courses just on ground. And of course, the majority of our employees were based at campuses. So as with other higher education institutions, in just a matter of weeks, you're right, it really was weeks that we were able to shift our entire operation to this virtual format. And AI virtual learning was designed to really provide students with as much flexibility in their learning and as much content and engagement as we could possibly, get in there for them to be exposed to.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd like to jump right into the collaboration between Samsung and the Art Institutes.
Yeah.
Because that's when I first met you, when I came out to Miami to help teach a workshop. Can you tell me how that association first began?
So you're exactly right. It began with Samsung reaching out to the Art Institutes and saying, hey, we have these really great game developer and watch design developer workshops. And could we bring that to your students? And we, of course, said, yes, I'd love to expose them to industry. That's what I live for, is bringing sort of real world application into their classroom environment. So we started off with workshops. We had workshops in Miami, and we had workshops in Atlanta, and we were working on a workshop for Houston and Dallas, and COVID hit. But in those workshops, gosh, I want to say we had over 220 students between both of those locations.
Yeah.
Take that sort of immersive, 1 day, 1.5 day workshop, and they loved it.
Oh, yeah. So that was where, like I had mentioned, where I first met you and all of the faculty at the Art Institutes. When I came out to Miami, I helped teach a themes UI designing class to the students. And it honestly was a great time seeing what the students did. I think one of the best stories that came out of that was that we had students from all different departments at your campus there.
Right.
So we had students they're in design, or they were doing culinary, or they were doing fashion. And we held a little contest at the end of the day. We were going to select which team designed what we thought was the most compelling phone UI theme. And surprisingly, it was the fashion, the fashion design group, who these people are working with textiles and fabrics. But it was neat to see how they took that sort of concept and brought it into a digital phone UI theme.
But that's part of fashion, right? So wearables is something that we talk about in their curriculum.
Yeah.
And is it, an athletic sort of fitness wearable? Is it a fashion wearable? Is it technology wearables? And how are they going to incorporate that and design for it for a wide variety of uses?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also another highlight for me was I was given the opportunity to review a lot of the students' personal portfolios. Mm-hmm. So this is just their portfolio of work, whether they were assignments that they've done, or some of them already had been working as graphic designers, and they were showing me some of their projects from the past. And to be able to sit down with those students and share a bit of my knowledge, that was a really nice time. It was a great moment for me.
Yeah, we have a lot of great partnerships and industry pros who are on campus all the time, sort of imparting their knowledge and allowing the students the opportunity to share their work, which is what really excites them and keeps their sort of passion and flames, fueled, so that they can see where they're going to progress once they're, done with school and what they're going to be able to do in the industry.
And I think what we liked the most was that, we were giving an opportunity to sit down with these students at the beginning of their career and show them about how easy it is to develop for Samsung. I mean, there's this sort of stigma that, I have to learn how to code, but the tools that we were showing at that time for phone UI designing and also for watch face designing, students didn't have to know how to code. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for us to come in to a group of students that were taking classes in culinary and fashion design and other areas of art that maybe are not developers that know how to code.
Right.
But we're giving them an opportunity to actually create for Samsung.
I agree. I think one of those interesting things you mentioned, culinary, and I remember talking to the culinary student. He was like, I want to design a watch for a chef. What are my times for, my eggs or my deep fryer? And can I build that into this watch design so that I can, use it?
That's great.
In the kitchen. It was great.
Yeah. So we had so much success at those workshops that we decided to offer an actual course.
Correct.
This would be a Samsung. This was watch face designing. And as you had mentioned, we were in the middle of just about ready to launch this, and then COVID hit.
And lockdown.
Yes. And we all had to figure out how are we going to take this in-person, I think it was a 6-week course at the time.
Right.
I worked pretty closely with some of your faculty there on how we could turn this into an online course. And it was actually very successful. Yeah. I was really impressed with the students and their eagerness to learn this new tool and take that and actually design some pretty nice looking watch faces.
Yeah, you're right. So the workshops evolved into the course, and working with you and other members at Samsung, we had faculty, we had some of our deans, we had programmatic experts to really take what Samsung had in these half-day workshops to expand it into what does a student really need to do to flesh out a full credit-bearing course within our curriculum that would, benefit them and expose them to technology and industry and a more real world application. So we pivoted very quickly again. It was going to be on ground. Mm-hmm. It went to this virtual learning format. We stretched it to 11 weeks in the end.
Yes.
I was just looking at the calendar, Tony, and we're coming up on the 1-year mark of offering this class. And we have had over 128 students, I think, is when I last looked at it.
Wow.
Come through and take that class.
That's amazing. And it's still a class that is being offered, correct?
It still is. Yeah, it's on the schedule.
That is great. So we've talked about UI designing for phones. We've talked about watch face designing. So I understand there's actually another area that my counterpart, Diego, another evangelist, that he helped teach game development.
He actually did. Last quarter, we're on the quarter system. So last quarter, Diego partnered with our team production 1 and 2 class for game art and design. And he was in that class. We had our first instance, I think we had 18 students, and he really spent so much quality time with them, talking about the Samsung platform and how they could get their indie games potentially published, the process behind there. And then the students got to ask their questions, so they had, Diego as the expert, and he offered to, again, as you did, look at their work, give them feedback, and really kind of fulfill that publishing fire of how they're going to go about that and get that game noticed.
A lot of the students, when they're starting out, they haven't had that opportunity to have real world game development experience. What we were able to offer is a collaboration with Samsung, where Diego was able to give them that insight on what it is like to actually develop a game in the industry.
Right. So you're right. They kind of work in a bit of a vacuum, and, they look at different places where they can publish and how they can, go about getting their game noticed. But again, having this partnership with Samsung has been so valuable for them because they could learn a little bit more, I guess, about tips and tricks and sort of an inroad and getting into the Galaxy store for potential publishing.
And it wasn't just about creating the game. They actually had to do more than that, which was put together their business plan and also talk about how are they going to promote this game.
Correct. Who is their target audience? What age bracket are they going after? Where are they going to publish it? All of those types of things. What's their logo? What's their, font choice? What are their colors? How does it play on different platforms? Is it, a phone? Is it for console? All those different things.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's all part of marketing your brand.
Mm-hmm.
So Diego also participated in your AI Live.
Yes.
So tell a little bit about what is AI Live.
So AI Live, again, was kind of born out of the pandemic, to be honest with you, but a way for us to continue to connect industry professionals, even highlight faculty and alumni of the art institutes to our students. So in the past, we all had guest lectures on campus. With the pandemic, we couldn't do that. So AI Live was born. You can check out AI Live on our YouTube channel and see all of those recordings. And Diego did participate. So he was an industry professional and talked about Samsung and the partnership and the developer program and game publishing. And he's one of our more popular views, actually, on the channel.
Diego's a star. I want to kind of go back a little bit also and just touch a little bit more on COVID. Financially, it's really hit a lot of people very hard because a lot of people have been out of work due to COVID. Does the Art Institute, do they have any sort of financial aid or any way that they can assist with students in tuition?
Sure. So at the Art Institutes, financial aid is available to those who qualify. We are always here to help students understand everything they need to know to help fund their creative education. We're always looking for ways to make education more affordable. So we offer full and partial scholarships to eligible new and continuing students. And one of our internal institutional grants is called the Art Grant. And the Art Grant gives students the chance to earn tuition of up to $17,340 for a bachelor's degree, which is an average of about 18% of tuition, and up to $5,845, which is about 13% for an associate's degree program. Of course, we offer all the traditional VA funds for veterans, all the Title IV programs, and those types of things.
Wow, that is really nice to hear. What are you guys doing in the way of recruiting new students?
Sure. So we have an admissions team who helps students in each step of the process. And there's a 4-step process to getting started. So first is the interview, and that's going to be where the students would meet with their enrollment counselor during the interview process. They're going to share stories of the Art Institute's mission, how we help creative individuals launch their careers and do what they love, talk about range of services provided and that sort of thing. Next step would be to apply and we're serious about creative education, and students' applications tell us that they're serious too. So once accepted, we work with the student to make sure that they're on track to start classes. Third step is financial aid and scholarships, where a financial aid's rep would help the students explore their options, scholarships to help fund. Step 4 would be orientation, and that's really the final step. So new student orientation, and my team plays a big part in that. But orientation is really that chance to explore the campus, which takes place digitally right now. We do a virtual orientation, but it's the student's opportunity to learn everything from policy and procedures to time management to how to log into their classes, meet with their academic directors to make sure that they're well prepared to start school and know what to expect and how to move very quickly in our very fast-paced, environment of how we're learning today.
Yeah, that's great to be able to put that information out there for the students to really get a good understanding of what it is that they're about to embark on.
Absolutely.
Once a student has completed their degree at the Art Institutes, what is it that you guys can do with help with placing them into the workforce?
Sure. So again, that falls under mentorship and career readiness, which I help navigate our students with, and our team of mentors. So our department, Student Mentorship and Career Readiness, partners with our students as they select courses to register up through that career transition piece. They can seek guidance from us in attending a myriad of workshops. So over the course of a quarter, we host workshops on resume writing, interview techniques, salary negotiation. If they, really want to do freelance or be an entrepreneur, pointing them in the right direction for business planning resources, or connecting them with a copyright or contract attorney to do a workshop on intellectual property, and all of those resources and building blocks that they're going to need to be successful after school. We have a job board, of course. We have a lot of self-directed resources. We have on-demand resources. We have in-person resources, all of those wonderful things to connect them with. I can say, on the job board, I probably approve 20 to 25 jobs a day.
Really?
Of employers reaching out, to the Art Institutes to say, hey, I want to hire a graduate of yours, or where can I post this job?
Sure. That's great. So you really do have a nice program when it comes to career readiness.
We try. We really do try to help, set them up.
Yeah. So can you tell me about some of the major accomplishments that your graduates have gone on to do after they have graduated from the Art Institutes?
Yeah. I would say, again, check out our AI Live series on YouTube. You can actually hear from them firsthand. But some of the more recent interviews from some of our alumni and some of the upcoming ones that will be launching by the end of March, you can check out Joshua Leonard. He is a 2018 graduate from the Art Institute of Atlanta, and he is a character animator for Netflix.
Wow.
And we're very proud of him and all of his accomplishments. He's one of our most recent ones. You can look for upcoming on AI Live, Simone Key. She's a 2012 graduate from the Art Institute of Dallas. She does branding and advertising for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, advertising. Now she's opened up her own creative studio in Dallas. And then culinary, Jamaica Pizzoa. She was on the Next Food Network Star in 2009. She's a weekly contributor on the Dr. Oz new series, The Dish on Oz. And she's a 2005 culinary graduate from our Atlanta campus.
Wow. So you really do have some notable alumni.
We do. We're very proud of them. We're proud of all of them. But, if you want to hear some of the highlights, those are some good ones to check out.
Oh, it definitely will. So can you talk about future plans? Any upcoming announcements with the school?
Yeah. Miami International University of Art and Design Global Campus will most likely officially, I'll do some air quotes there, officially
Sure.
launch in its first full academic year, which would be 21-22, which would commence in the fall. Could be sooner, but that would be an online education platform. So where we previously spoke about, virtual and hybrid and we're not totally online. Miami International University of Art and Design Global Campus would be an online modality for education.
Oh, wow. So this obviously came out of how COVID has impacted your school and where you had to pivot. You now realize, we're going to offer this just permanently as an ongoing offering. That's great.
Definitely a need.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the best way for people to learn about the Art Institutes?
So I would go to the website. That's where anyone interested in our programs can visit us online. And it's www.artinstitutes.edu. You can also check out some of our virtual open house events and upcoming virtual open house events, May the 8th of 2021 from 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And, those are all great ways to interact with our departments, our faculty, hear stories, see resources, and really learn more about the Art Institutes.
That's excellent. So when you're not working and helping these students plan their careers, what is it that you do for fun?
The husband and I love to take the motorcycle out on the weekends in the Texas Hill Country. So go for long rides until I can't sit on the back of that bike anymore. Love to be out with my dogs, my fur babies. I'm an avid artist at heart. My undergraduate degree is in fine arts. So I paint quite a bit. I'm always refinishing some piece of furniture or painting something. So that's what I do.
And I will say, every time that I have met you, you've had a different hairstyle. And when I say different hairstyle, I mean, right now you have this beautiful swash of pink coming right through your bangs. And I can tell you are a very artsy person, a perfect person to represent the Art Institutes.
Well, thank you. I do change my hair quite frequently. I think I've been every color of the rainbow.
Oh, that's great. Well, Amy, thank you very much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Tony. It was a pleasure.
Looking to start creating for Samsung? Download the latest tools to code your next app. Or get software for designing apps without coding at all. Sell your apps to the world on the Samsung Galaxy Store. Check out developer.samsung.com today and start your journey with Samsung.
The PAL podcast is brought to you by the Samsung Developer Program and produced by Tony Moreland.